So you know what? In Ramadan, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So I'm connecting everything to Ramadan. We fasted so that we would attain taqwa and piety. And Allah is saying, when you treat people with honor, with respect, with integrity, with dignity, that's a sign of taqwa. Could you imagine that? That inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Those are the people who will be most honored, who treat people with respect and honor. Don't spoil your Ramadan. Please, please, that's my message to myself and you today. Don't lose it. You spent a lot of time, you made a lot of effort in Ramadan. Ramadan is a drill. It's not easy. It's a task. So don't lose that blessing. Inna Allah alimun khabir. Allah says that He knows well what we do. In the second khutbah, we'll conclude, inshallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, once more we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us to be here, to have been able to perform the Eid Salah, to listen to the khutbah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His peace and blessings upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahu Akbar walillahi alhamd. So now that we have reminded ourselves of all these verses from the Quran, and as we conclude now in the second khutbah in the next few minutes, inshallah, I want to just remind myself and you, and I'm sure most of you know this. I'm sure most of you know. Are you all familiar with a guy called Jim Carey? Huh? Yeah? Famous for Dumb and Dumber? Yeah. I used to think I dumb, when I saw him, I realized he was more dumber than me. He's dumber, yeah. Look as many of you don't know Dumb and Dumber, no? No, well, no problem. Forgive you for that. Jim Carey, go look up his background. Famous movie star, Hollywood movie star in America. Famous. Well-known, popular. You know what was one of his famous quote and saying? This is some deep words of wisdom. It is so Quranic, what he said. So Quranic. The synopsis of what he said was, he said, I wish that everybody could be rich and famous. Isn't that what everybody want to be? Yeah. He said, I wish that everybody can be rich and famous, and they can have everything that they have dreamt of in this world. That is what everybody want to be, right? Isn't it? But hear what he said after that. He said, and after having everything they want to be, then they will realize that's not the answer. That's not the answer to life in this world. Allahu Akbar. Because there were times when, as famous as Jim Carey was, attracted millions of people, made millions of people laugh, he would go in a corner and cry in loneliness. Go check his lifestyle. Hollywood movie star, right here in America. I'm not giving you 14 years ago reference. He said, rich and famous, have everything in the world. He wished people can attain that, so they will realize they are still not happy. It is not the satisfaction of life in this world. It is not the success of life. You ask many people who have become billionaires, they don't know what to do after. Nothing. What to do after? Now they start preparing for the grave. My point is, why didn't you start preparing 40 years ago? Why? So, when I came across this quote from Jim Carey, I'm like, this is so Quranic. I wish our Muslim community could know that. You deprive people, you hate people, you put down people, you lie to people, you deceive people, you slander people, you backbite people, all in the name of rich and famous. And to be rich and famous, and to defame other people, to know that that is not happiness. That could be loneliness, and it may not necessarily be success in this world. I wanted to share that today as it's Eid, and we have so many of you, and all our hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world who view this khutbah. I wanted to remind myself and you of that. And I want to remind myself and you again as we conclude what I reminded in Friday khutbah. America is not free from tornadoes. America is not free from hurricanes. America is not free from earthquakes. America is not free from floods. America is not free from disasters and calamities. A lot of people would think that only happened in poor third world countries. Well, it's happening here. Illinois, Mississippi, Louisiana, Indiana, all over. Tornadoes, deaths, flood. People dying in famous Texas in flood. You remember a couple of years ago? Yeah, right here in Florida, people had $1 million homes last week. Flood. There are people who drive their Mercedes only on Sundays. Well, they will never see another Sunday again because the Mercedes went underwater. Right here in our backyard. What does that tell you and I? Don't be arrogant. Don't think you're better than other people. Don't put down people. A flood could come and flood us around our own homes. The ignorant people, the arrogant people, in the time of Prophet Nuh, alayhi salatu wasalam, thought that if they climb on the mountains, the flood will not reach them. What? They thought if they climb on the mountains, the flood will not reach them. That's what a lot of rich and famous and arrogant people think nowadays. Our lifestyle is so aloof from other people. Problems and disasters and calamities cannot hurt us. My brothers and sisters, the flood went higher than the mountain, and it destroyed everybody except whom Allah wanted to save. So in our backyard right here, these things can happen in America. Don't be arrogant and be aloof and think we are the best. Go through these verses that we have just reminded ourselves of today in today's khutbah, Surah Hujurat, Surah Al-Ma'idah. Please check out those verses and you will see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Surah Sabah, those 3 verses we reminded ourselves of in the first khutbah. Change our lifestyle. You had an opportunity in Ramadan. We had an opportunity in this Ramadan to be better, to energize our iman. Now let's live a good life and a better life. So when we close our eyes, when we die, we will be safely going under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be granted Jannah without reckoning. Life is too short, my brothers and sisters.